hot or cold, a Lady Vol should be named the star on campus. If they do those Vol scars or whatever they do, where they give out awards and it sounds like they're scarring their players. But if they do that, that's what they call it, like the Oscars, Volskers, a Lady Vol should win that award given what we have seen in this past calendar year. And I'm even including, I guess, the baseball team. Who's the superstar on campus right now? Because it ain't Nico and it ain't Josh Heupel. It might just be a Lady Vol.
It might. And now you brought this up, and Dave's got a great column on it recently because we're talking about Jewel Spear and Talisha Cooper, who have been balling for the Lady Vols. And I tried to think because, okay, going to baseball, like baseball is going to create some stars, but they don't have any right now because all the stars they had left from last year. So they're pretty much empty. Football's biggest stars from last year's team were Dylan Sampson and James Pierce. Guess what? They're gone. They're not on the team anymore. Cooper Mays is gone. So with that in mind,
I think the only really debate is maybe Zakai Ziegler. Because the other three guys that came in, and Igor and Chaz and Dubar, have not lived up to the billing. So I really think that it can't be Nico with the way the season ended. It can't be any football player, in my opinion. I think this comes down to Ziegler and name a Lady Vol.
Yeah, Ziegler or Spear or Cooper. How about this? How about the combination of Ziegler and Lanier or Jewel Spear and Talisha Cooper? Like in that moment, the biggest stars probably should be Jewel Spear and Talisha Cooper. They're more reliable regularly. Chaz Lanier is averaging 17.5 points a game, but if you guys have watched him play this year, that's a lot of Heupel level stat padding. And when I say Heupel level stat padding, I mean Heupel pad stats against really bad teams in non-conference play.
Okay, let's go through the names and let's put it on our poll question. And we're going to tell you whether they're hot or cold right now. And it's brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's your man.
All right, Caleb, I'm going to start. Nico Iamaleava. He's cold.
He's cold. I don't think he's as exciting on campus right now.
I don't think when he goes to class, if they go to class anymore. I don't think it's anything like last year. And they're like, man, we can't wait for you to be a star. Now it's more like, is he going to pan out? Hunter Inslee. Oh, he's hot.
I'm hot on Hunter Inslee. That's a good one. You think he's hot, huh?
So hot.
So hot.
Zakai Ziegler.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Zakai Ziegler's hot on campus because people just love the way he plays. Zakai Ziegler is the one person that has a license to make 17, he could have 17 turnovers and 20 missed shots in a game. And fans are like, look at all the other stuff he does. Like, he gets forgiven for so much because of how hard he plays.
Don't forget to hit that like button, vote on our question. So who now is the hottest Vol on campus? Is it Inslee? Is it one of the Lady Vols? Is it Ziegler? I don't know that it could be anybody on the football team.
Let's do that. Hold on. And I'm gonna write in parentheses it's not Nico, so I'm not giving anybody the option to select Nico. Who is the hottest?
Why wouldn't you?
Because people would pick Nico and they're just wrong.
I don't know that they would. I think that's interesting. If Nico gets 20% of the vote instead of 80 like he would have gotten this time last year, to me that's newsworthy. Let's include him.
Ziegler / Lanier. We'll do that. Nico Iamaleava, Hunter Inslee. Because that's a good one. Hunter Inslee. Jewel Spear. Or how about Jewel Spear / Talisha
It's
Cooper.
gotten really complicated all of a sudden.
No, it hasn't. I've actually done pretty good.
Okay, vote now. It's on our YouTube page. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Brought to you in part by Joe Neubert Collision Center. For nearly 50 years, Neubert Collision Center has been East Tennessee's best choice for quality repair work and fantastic customer service. And who would you vote for?
Jewel Spear to Elijah Cooper. I would
too.
Jewel Spear is a red hot 3-point shooter. She stayed after she almost transferred last year, and then she stayed. Kim Caldwell convinced her to stay. And then they added Talijah Cooper from South Carolina after missing all of last year. And they've been a great 1-2 punch as guards, both of them. And she's just been a deadly threat from the field shooting. And so, I'm going Jewel Spear to Talijah Cooper.
I thought it was pretty interesting how efficient she was, too.
Yeah, I agree. She's incredible. And funny enough, Kim Caldwell needs more efficient scores. So Jewel Spear is the only player that really fits her profile of what she wants, like to a 100% T. Now, Talijah Cooper's her best scorer right now, but that's more transition, things like that. If Talijah Cooper, here's the scary part about Talijah Cooper. She's shooting 26% from 3 right now because she's not a 3-point shooter, but she's only a sophomore and she's coming off an injury where she didn't play last year. What if she gets that 3-point shooting to just say 31%? Not 26, but 31. You're talking about an unstoppable force at All-American.
But when you compare any of the ball handlers that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but any of the ball handlers that the Lady Vols have, don't you feel like you could go to them and say, man, tonight's the night, I got to have 28 points. Whereas if you did that with Zakai Ziegler, that he'd probably get a little spastic and turn the ball over too much.
I don't know if Zakai would turn the ball over too much. I think actually part of the problem with the reason Zakai turns it over too much is Zakai too often is trying to look for the right person to be open, and the other players are taking themselves out of the game. Whether it be Chaz Lanier camping out in the back corner of the 3-point line.
He loves doing that, by the way.
He loves doing it. I know.
He loves it. I mean, it should be the Chaz spot on the Summit Court in Thompson Bowling Arena, brought to you by Food City Kroger's. That's exactly
so true. And this is why analytics sometimes are hard to measure in basketball because, again, I've told you guys, I one time said like Allen Iverson, and I'm taking this back now. You say AI was overrated because the shooting percentage was so low. But then I listened to him on the podcast, and he said it right. He said, if I pass the ball to Eric Snow, and he passes it to the Dikembe Mutombo, and he passes it to Aaron McKee, and they all pass up open shots, and then it lands back in my hands with 3 seconds on the shot clock, well, I got to take a bad percentage shot because what else am I supposed to do? That's what Chaz Lanier, that's what Zakai Ziegler is forced with a lot of times because players like Chaz Lanier, Darlington Neubert off the bench, they're taking themselves out of the game sometimes.
Yeah, but that's so disappointing, though, because – it's one thing if you've got an Allen Iverson. No offense to Zakai Ziegler, but he's not on that level. I mean, it's if you want to lean on an Allen Iverson because you're Eric Snow and you know your percentage of doing something good is not as high as that guy, AI, then I'm okay with giving the ball up. But Chaz Lanier should think to himself, I can create points every bit as much as the 5'9" guy. I'm not getting it back.
You are right. You are right. I went from saying Chaz Lanier is amazing to eating crow. You know who he reminds me of more than anybody? Here's a name for you, Dave.
Oh.
Scooter McFadden.
Why would you do that to the poor guy?
Okay. There was an NIT game, and you'll love this. It was an NIT game where Tennessee lost to George Mason 57-55, I think, during the Buzz Peterson years. Tennessee needed a 3. Maybe it was 58-55. Yeah, they needed a 3 to tie. There were 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Time ran out because nobody took a shot.
That sounds like a Tennessee football quarterback tradition.
Yeah, but it was basketball because Scooter McFadden kept passing up the potential game-tying 3, and he would keep they kept giving him the ball, and he would keep passing it up to somebody else. And I mean, it was a bad look at that time. And I'm starting to see that with Chaz Lanier. Hence the reason, Barnes, Dave, when is a scoring guard? When have you ever heard of a scoring guard being taken out of the game by a coach because he didn't score when he was told to?
Oh, Tony Harris.
Oh, Tony Harris. Well, Tony Harris was a natural point guard, though.
Well, but the problem was they would go into a season or a series or a month and say, you're going to play the 1. And then the next month they would say, you're going to play the 2. And the next month you're going to play the 1. And they moved him around so much. There were times that he was at the 2 that he wasn't taking, I didn't think, nearly enough shots. And he was kind of running the point from the 2. Does that make sense?
Right. So this is not his fault at all, what you're saying.
No, it was not his fault.
Right.
Absolutely not.
This is what Chaz Lanier is, purely a scorer. He is a scoring guard. Your coach says, we have drawn this play up for you. When you get the ball, go score, which is what you are, a scoring guard, and that's all you've been all year. And you pass it up. Have you ever heard of a scoring guard do that?
I'm going to have to go T. Harris, man. I mean, he dribbled the ball against that.
But you can't blame Tony Harris is what I'm saying.
Well, most symbolic of it, though, the Charlotte game, his final game, how long did he dribble at the top of the key before he decided to shoot it up and hit the bottom cushion of the backboard?
Tony Harris was not meant to be able to create for himself, though. So he didn't really know how to, because that's not what he was raised to do. He was raised to be a point guard and distribute.
I think we can both agree that during that era that the players weren't to blame for any of their shortcomings.
No, not at all.
That was all in well,
I mean, I didn't. Yeah, you've illuminated me even more of Jerry Green than I realize. Golden parachute job, and
and the best still was the coach that I'm not going to tell you who it was because it was off the record, but I'll tell you sometime. But the coach who said we were all standing around and nobody was recording. We just asked him, we said, what do you think about your chances of beating Tennessee? They've got a lot of talent. He goes, well, anytime the silver fox is on the sideline with his arms crossed, you got a chance.
Then you had Wade. You had some characters coaching Tennessee during that time, because you had Wade Houston, who, as you have informed me, did not bother to work at all. Just watched. What, did he just not care? Was he just happy to collect a check too?
Yes. Well, and he was kind of the recruiter at Kentucky, so I think he thought the talent would just fall in place, especially with his son. The best one, though, is Kevin O'Neal, and I'm not going to name the player, but when he decided he got mad at a player and he picked on him, and some of you know who it is, decided it was appropriate to call that player's girlfriend sounds like my last name.
Wow. Okay.
First two letters, and made him run the steps while he kept talking about his girlfriend.
That sounds like Kevin O'Neal, but also Kevin O'Neal.
And then he laid down. Here's the other thing he did. He laid down like he had been crucified underneath one of the baskets and goes, I bleep and quit. I bleep and quit. I can't take this anymore.
But he at least tried to coach, right?
Yes. He tried. He just didn't have the talent.
And then Buzz Peterson was everything but smart. But he was like a good guy, a good leader,
Michael Jordan's best friend.
Michael Jordan's best friend.
Even though we never saw him.